So the broad factors that often cause games to fail kind of fall into three key areas. So engagement, retention, and monetization. So in terms of engagement and retention, could be sort of relating to a poor onboarding experience, the level of difficulty, so a high difficulty level in the early stages, no long-term goals, or a lack of sort of elder game content, or sort of no live ops strategy. As for monetization, having no obvious first purchase options in the game, or some solid repeat spend program. So the crucial elements of a good onboarding process, definitely good use of signposting, so players are drawn to the right area of the UI if they're navigating through screens, are being told to go somewhere if it's, say, a third-person game. Having clear signposting so the player is being encouraged to do things in an engaging way. There's no point sort of having it too much on rails, because players will essentially kind of lose interest. So the more engaging it can be, the better. And using a good use of signposting in terms of directing the player and making sure it's an engaging experience is a top priority, I would say. The onboarding process should also be extremely rewarding and explicit in its delivery. If you're going to be giving players a starting balance, it's a far better approach to use that starting balance that some games just basically have within their account when they start the game and never draw the attention to it. Use that starting currency as a reward in that onboarding process to, again, make the game feel more rewarding. You're going to be giving it to them anyway, so why not do it in a fun and explicit way? Again, that will make them feel good, and it's a way of introducing the currency to them in an intuitive way. And also ensuring that the player can't fail. It's really important not to punish the player for making a mistake in the early stages of the game. So yeah, it's a good question. Tempting players to make their all-important first purchase. I would definitely say that one of the main things to think about is not to put too much pressure on players to spend, especially in the early stages of the game. Spending for the first time or at any time in the game should feel like a natural decision for the player. It's also important that the player should understand the economy first before presenting them with something like a welcome bonus or a special offer. And I would say that the sort of third main point would be letting the player experience the game as a paying player first. And that could be through rewarding, or if you've got like a VIP program or a members program, gifting them that so they know what it feels like to be a spender. That can help kind of feed into that natural decision, because when they do monetize, they know what it's like. It's not a grey area. They know if they spend, they know exactly what they're going to get because they experienced it for free. So the important characteristics of a good in-game store. Explicit savings. A lot of games that I've seen are not explicit in terms of how much the player is going to save if they opt for special bundles or the more expensive currency packages, for example. The player should be sort of aware of the monetary savings if they do opt in to the higher value items in your store. A lot of games just kind of tend to show percentage savings, but when I've been looking at it, and again, players don't necessarily want to do math, so it's good to obviously have the percentage savings, but it's good to kind of show the extra currency that they're going to get, and even show the real world value savings as well. So having that, maybe the original price that it was, struck out, and then showing the special offer price, being as explicit in your delivery in terms of your offerings in the store is a good way to go. Another thing would be having a good store layout and having filter options, especially if you've kind of got a large inventory in your game. And again, that bleeds into having a smooth browsing experience for the player. So kind of splitting content up into like several different categories if you need to. And if you have got sort of special offers that you do push from time to time, making sure they're visible in the store as well. So outside of the core game, I would definitely say having regular events and challenges, PvP competition mechanics are really, really good to have, and live ops. It's a bit of a no-brainer when it comes to live ops, and thinking of this from day one is a really good thing to do, because if it's built in correctly, it's a really kind of low effort, high value method that can be used to promote retention, and you can reuse kind of old levels or old content in imaginative ways, and tie them to rewards to kind of bring players back and re-engage with content that you've worked hard at delivering to these players. And it also bridges a gap between content drops as well. And yeah, it's a fairly low development effort. So yeah, I would definitely say these two areas are things that I would say are proven to encourage repeat play. So is it important for games to have a central story or narrative? Not always, but the game must have progression that makes sense to the player. They need something to work towards to keep them invested, and having a story is one mechanism that can put that progression into context. But I would say it's also important that players have sort of short-term goals as well, so they've always got something to work towards.